Hey everybody, Frank here. So today I thought I'd do a quick video about axe handling. First and foremost, you always want to be safe when you do things, so I always wear safety glasses and leather gloves. I've seen a lot of people wear chaps, like what you use for a chainsaw, or shin guards. I don't have shin guards, but I'll probably get some in the near future. Now the tools of the trade, you got a double bit axe here, 3.5 pound. A couple things I'd like to say is, one end of this axe I keep sharp and the other end I keep blunt, and I marked them on my axe so that I remember which is which. A lot of people don't know that, but double bit axes actually have two sides for two different purposes. The blunt side is for roots and any kind of work that is down around the ground whenever you cut down a tree, and the sharp side is for felling the tree itself. For those of you that don't know, felling a tree is the process of cutting it down. Second thing I got here is a chopping axe. This is good if you got bigger wood. Not maybe something you would use for splitting, but if you want to cut down a tree or maybe cut up some kindling out of some pieces of wood that you need something a little bit heavier than your standard handheld hatchet. And then last but not least, I have an 8-pound splitting maul. This is nice because it has a sledgehammer back to it and a very wide bit blade. Anyhow, let's get started. Let's split some wood. Alright, so next I want to go ahead and show you guys what I do for pieces of wood like this. So this is a pretty thick piece of eastern hemlock. I could use a hatchet, but the problem with a hatchet is a lot of times it's just too big to split. You can use different knives, like bushcraft knives, to go ahead and process the wood. In a survival situation I would do that, but whenever I have the resources available to split wood properly, I like to use something like this chopping axe, because you got a lot more weight in the head. It's still possible to go ahead and cut it up. So here's what I usually do. If we start off with something small like this, you'll see just how perfect it is. It really cuts perfectly. And usually the grain's real easy to find in pieces of wood like this. Now, something bigger, like say this guy, may take a little bit more energy to break. You can see by looking at the top here, there's like 4 or 5 different knots right in the top, which is always a lot of fun to split. So whenever we split at the other end, there's no knots. It breaks very easily. So those are the kind of things I'm kind of glad that happened on video. I want to show you guys all the knots there, how much more difficult that makes it. Alright guys, so whenever I'm using an axe, I'm right-handed, so I keep my left hand down along the bottom of the axe and my right hand right below the head, right? I stand kind of like shoulder width apart, but I keep my left foot in front of my right foot. I'm going to bring the axe back. My right hand slides down towards the handle where my left hand is, and then I use momentum, you just go straight down. Now I'm going to split in a couple more pieces of wood. Okay, so you guys can see, for the most part, if you get good pieces of wood, splitting's pretty easy. The biggest thing is just not doing this when you're too tired, having a flat area to rest the wood on, and just being safe, because wood can fly anyway, any which way direction. I mean, left, right, back at you. That's why shin guards are important, which I don't have, but I plan on getting some soon. It's a really good way to stay in shape, and it's just a good hobby to have. So the biggest thing too is just trying not to get discouraged, because if you miss a couple, if you're like me and you start missing, it seems like you have to walk away from it for a little while until you're able to start splitting them again. Anytime you have a long piece of wood, usually logs are a lot bigger than this. A double bit axe is the best way to go if you don't have a chainsaw. Is you want to cut like a V. You know, you want to cut at an angle here and an angle here to gradually work your way down. This is only a 3.5 pound head, but it adds up pretty quick when you start swinging it a lot. So, you can see, you're not really supposed to use a double bit axe on a piece of wood that small. In that case, you'd want to use a saw, but I kind of did that just for the video. Usually you'd have a lot bigger tree than this, but anyhow, makes it a little bit more difficult whenever the wood moves on you. I've never split a piece of wood that small with a double bit axe, and you can see why. The big thing though to take home is the angle of attack. So when you're swinging, you always want to angle like this. Anyhow, that's pretty much it. So I mean, you can process wood in an old-fashioned way with a splitting maul, a double bit axe, and a chopping axe. Appreciate you guys watching. As always, please feel free to like, favorite, and subscribe. Get out in the woods.